morning and welcome to First Parish in Concord, here in Massachusetts, outside of Boston, or around the country, around the world from your own home. Welcome to those of you on Zoom. Welcome to those of you watching later on YouTube. And welcome to you intrepid folks here in the sanctuary. My name is the Reverend Liz Weber, and I am glad to be here with you this morning. I want to share with you a little bit about our accessibility here at First Parish. If you could use hearing assist headphones, please see an usher in the back of the sanctuary. There is an elevator through these doors to the left of the pulpit that could bring you to any floor. The restrooms are on the lower floor and include gender-neutral restrooms. All restrooms have accessible stalls. We are glad you are here this morning. We're grateful to all of you for taking care of this community. To keep us all safer, masks must be worn inside the building. Also, social distance, please. Our worship leaders, choir, and teacher are all vaccinated, though our religious education exploration programs are online right now. With this surge, you'll see me and Paul and anyone up in the pulpit here keeping our masks on. And we strongly encourage vaccination for everyone, as this is part of how we keep each other safe, everyone who's medically able. Today, the choir will sing an anthem, and all of us will sing our closing hymn together. We are keeping the windows open, as you've probably noticed, to improve our ventilation. That ventilation really is working well. Our proxy numbers of CO2 are in a very good range, so we are heartened by that. If you're cold, just move in towards the center a little bit, still distancing, or head up into that corner of the balcony where it is significantly warmer. We would like you to stay home if you are not feeling well, even if it's just a cold. Thank you for doing that. If you or a family member has tested positive for COVID or is waiting a test result, same thing. If there's been an exposure at church, which thankfully has not happened, we will let you know, let the congregation know while protecting your privacy. And of course, I'm here for you as your minister. Together, we covenant to reduce the risk of COVID by all doing our part. Today, I want to welcome again Miranda Loud. It's been so good to lead worship with you this month. Thank you for being here. Yeah, we can clap for Miranda. She's great. Yeah. Finally, I have a staff update. Reverend Howard Dana, who's our senior minister, has been away on a much-needed vacation this week, which you may already know. He was scheduled to return today and be back in the office this coming week, but unfortunately, he has tested positive for COVID. Yeah, the good news is that he's doing really well. He says it just feels like a head cold. His brother Mark, with whom he's traveling, has also tested positive. And the good news there is that Mark is asymptomatic, probably over the hump. So while this is not good, we are heartened and optimistic that they're both doing well. They think Mark brought it from home, and thankfully folks at home are also on the mend. This does mean that Howard will need to delay his return to Concord, and fortunately we have a great team of ministers and staff here at First Parish, and we're here for you. I will keep you, or Howard, one of us will keep you updated. And I know that all of us, staff and parishioners alike, join together in sending prayers and good hope for healing to Howard and his brothers. It sucks to live through a global pandemic, but we're doing a good job of getting through it together. You'll hear a lot more about that in the sermon. It's been on my mind lately. I invite you to just take a breath, let your breath come easily. Maybe put a hand on your heart if that would feel good, and hear our call to worship. This is excerpted from Reverend Carolyn Owen Toll. Come into this house of worship. Come in bringing all of who you are. Rest and quiet your weak, worn spirit. For you are here to touch again eternal springs of hope and renewal. Calm your hurried pace. For this hour, let the cares, the fretfulness and worry be set aside. Come, let us worship together. Reverend Paul Langston Daly, our new social action manager, will light our chalice.
We light this chalice, a symbol of the love that holds us in gentle, loving hands. May we rest together in that love this morning. I invite you now in our response. O flame of our faith, open our hearts and find our bodies and souls with persistent strength. Enliven our spirits and engage us deeply in this life of ours, this sacred, essential moment now. I invite you now to listen for our centering music. Our responsive reading this morning is Wild Geese from Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good.
You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting.
You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves.
Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine.
Meanwhile, the world goes on.
Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers.
Meanwhile, the wild geese high in the clean blue air are heading home again.
Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting over and over, announcing your place in the family of things.
Our reading this morning is from poet Mark Nepo, and it's called Yes, We Can Talk. Having loved enough and lost enough, I'm no longer searching, just opening. No longer trying to make sense of pain, but trying to be a soft and sturdy home in which real things can land. These are the irritations that rub into a pearl. So we can talk a while, but then we must listen, the way that rocks listen to the sea. And we can churn at all that goes wrong, but then we must lay all distractions down and water every living seed. And yes, on nights like tonight, I too feel alone. But seldom do I face it squarely enough to see that it is a door into the endless breath that has no breather, into the surf that human shells call God. I love you all. I'm glad to be here together. And it does suck living through a global pandemic. Everywhere I look these days, people are burned out. It seems like the hardest hit are parents and caregivers, educators, healthcare staff, and others in the helping professions, and my heart really goes out to you all. But I don't know anybody who's unscathed right now. All of us are in this phase of the pandemic where when we thought the end was in sight, we got slapped with another new variant and skyrocketing case numbers. The guidance is unclear, the science is unclear, and we're all just doing the best we can. I'm heartened that numbers statewide and even nationally are starting to go down. But here in Concord, numbers haven't started going down yet. And we know that either way, hospitalizations and deaths will continue to climb for a few more weeks as they follow that curve of case numbers on a delay. It's too much, and it's been so long. Some days I just want to rail at the world. I feel my anger rise at the slightest provocation, sometimes for no reason at all. I want to lash out, scream into the void, break things. Other days, I just want to escape. Some combination of rebellion and running away. I feel trapped and I just want out. I want something, anything to be different. And I know so many of us feel this way. Who doesn't want it to just be over already? That's just how I feel about the pandemic. There are so many things. There's ongoing climate crisis. There's continued threats to our democracy. There are personal worries and losses I know many of you are grieving these days. I know many of you are worried about your loved ones, folks who are sick, whose mental health is suffering, who are between jobs or struggling to get their start in adult life. Some of you are sick, some of you, some of you are struggling with your mental health, some of you are between jobs, and yes, there are even some among us struggling just to get a footing in adult life. What do we do when things get hard? It's easy to spend our time churning at all that has gone wrong. I've just done it for you a little bit, sorry. Watching the news on a loop or scrolling endlessly through social media, our outrage and despair can become an echo chamber. It's tempting to get rigid. In myself, I notice the desire for things to be just so. I want the ability not just to predict, but to control the future with all of the power and none of the responsibility. I search for clear and easy answers that don't come. I want to know the rules, and I want to make sure that everybody else follows them. In my body, I noticed extra tension in my muscles, a clenching in my jaw, in my heart, stiff and shallow breaths. Sometimes I feel almost brittle, somehow both coiled into myself and spiky around the edges. What do you notice in yourself? How does that rigidity feel in your body and your spirit? Friends, you do not have to be good. You do not have to wander parched in the desert, repenting. Having loved enough and lost enough, I am no longer searching, just opening. No longer trying to make sense of pain, but trying to be a soft and sturdy home in which real things can land. Tell me about despair, yours, for I have told you mine. Let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. How do we soften in response to pain? Recently, I've been tearing up at the smallest kindnesses. The shopkeeper who smiled as she told me a story about her daughter and then wished me well as I left. Just that was enough, but also the layer that she didn't have a mask, didn't have put one on when I had mine. I was grateful that I had my trusty KN95. But when she shared that story, it became a bridge between us. I felt my shoulders drop and my eyes tear. I had needed a reminder of connection, a reminder that there is still goodness and kindness in this world, that not all is lost, and that despite our differences, we can meet each other human being to human being. Now, kindness, it's not enough to save the world. For that, we need systemic and structural change. No one should be persecuted, be hungry, without housing, bankrupted by healthcare costs. As Unitarian Universalists, we believe that everyone deserves the resources to thrive. We need a real safety net in our society, an effective response to curb climate change, and a way to meet everyone's basic needs. And yet, we also need to move back into relationship, to offer each other gentleness and small moments of kindness. the way that we treat one another matters. The way that we treat ourselves matters too. We need a soft and sturdy home within ourselves where real things can land. We start by listening to our bodies, relearning what it is like to feel at home in ourselves. Yoga teacher Matthew Sanford became paralyzed in a car accident as a teen. As an adult, he found and later became a teacher of yoga. And he teaches us all, disabled and abled alike, to be gentle with our bodies and our spirits. He writes this about how he learned to be gentle with himself. After my accident, my rehab team pushed me to grow the strength in my arms as quickly as possible to be able to push my wheelchair. But something feels intuitively wrong about how I am being told to work. I am to press aggressiveness through my upper body, push, pull, jerk, and get the job done. But hasn't enough of that energy already traveled through me? I am tired of bouncing and crashing and crawling my way back to center. I'm willing to work, but let it be smooth, balanced, and even. My body demands grace, not rupture. If nothing else, my life has taught me one thing. This mind and body are the only mind and body that I have. They deserve my attention. When I give it, I receive so much more in return. Matthew Sanford concludes, I've never seen anyone truly become more aware of their body without also becoming more compassionate. Where there is rigidity, let us find gentleness. Call to mind a time when you felt safe. Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker writes, there is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in that love. Let yourself rest in your memory of safety and ease. Let yourself rest in the love that is with us always, that lives in us and through us, connecting us to one another across time and space. This love can sustain us in times of pain and bolster us in times of joy. You do not have to be good. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. On befriending her pain, folk singer Carrie Newcomer writes, the soft, wounded animal inside of me reared up on its hind legs and howled at the moon. Anger rises in a violent storm, and when I am wisest, I lay down beside it and hum in its ear until it gets quiet. First, we create a sense of safety. There is a love holding us. We become a soft and sturdy home in which real things can land. Then we create space for lament and rage. We tend to our pain. We ask our soft, wounded parts what they need from us, and listen to our lives the way that rocks listen to the sea. Make space. Listen deeply. What is your pain asking of you? What is this moment asking of you? Keep listening. These are the irritations that rub into a pearl. Finally, we offer ourselves comfort. We extend to our own self the gentleness and kindness that we would offer to a small child. We lay all distractions down and water every living seed. When life gets hard, this is how we stay soft and gentle. We return again and again to kindness for ourselves and for one another. Kindness, connection, love, and care. Let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. High in the clean blue air, the wild geese are heading home. We can too. Build that soft and sturdy home. Find your place in the family of things. Amen, and blessed be. Our reflection question is, what helps you stay soft and gentle when things are hard? You can check in with your neighbor or type into the Zoom chat. What helps you stay soft and gentle when things are hard?
Just to be is a blessing. Just to live is holy. This simple wisdom, in the words of the Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, 20th century Polish-born American rabbi, were set to music by the Portland, Oregon-based composer Joan Simcoe, and we share them with you now.
Thank you.
A member of our congregation died this past month. A larger-than-life presence, Ted was a lover of the great outdoors with a good sense of humor. He lived most recently in New Hampshire and Vermont, and Ted's children, Andrea, Ethan, and Tristan, were with him in his last days. May there be a balm for their grief. And Chuck Willie, a friend of First Parish, died on January 11th. Chuck was an advocate and a pioneer in civil rights and education, including school desegregation here in Massachusetts, and a venerated sociologist. He was a professor, mentor, researcher, and policymaker whose legacy reaches across our country. Our hearts are with Chuck's wife, Mary Sue, and the rest of his family as they grieve. I invite you now to call out the names of those you may be holding in your heart this morning. I invite you now to join us in humming Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
I'd like to begin our prayer this morning by offering a few words from the Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh, a great spiritual leader in the Zen Buddhist tradition who died this week at the age of 95. Thich Nhat Hanh writes, "Every day we engage in a miracle which we don't even recognize. A blue sky, white clouds, green leaves, the black, curious eyes of a child, our own two eyes, all are a miracle." In the spirit and the name of love, we ask for courage and strength to know when to act and when to remain still. We honor, too, that these are not fixed dualities, but rather like the winding of water in a bucket, stirring the contents and then allowing them to settle. Like the image of yin and yang, nothing remains still or in motion forever. May the Spirit of love invite us and give us strength. Hold us as we hold others in their joy and suffering. May the Spirit of love invite us and give us the strength to be held by others, to embrace the stillness when it comes, to rest, and to notice in those moments the company of the divine, holy, palpable presence, and know that we are truly precious and worthy, and each of us held in love. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.
For our social action candle today, we have Tali joining us from the Boston Ujima Project. Welcome.
Hi, my name's Tali. I'm the Congregational Organizing Director at UMass Action and have been supporting the Boston Ujima Project. In summer 2020, I learned about this question the rabbis pose in the Talmud. What should we do if a house, maybe even a beautiful palace, is built on the foundation of a stolen beam? This question is essentially asking, what do we do when we find ourselves part of a system whose roots are unjust? Like a house built using a stolen beam, our country is built on stolen land and exploitation. That's led to so many of the injustices we see today, including the racial wealth gap. I'm here to ask for your support for the Boston Ujima Project, which is working to address the racial wealth gap and many of the other injustices. The Boston Ujima Project creates an ecosystem centered on working class and BIPOC neighborhoods, rooted in community ownership, democratic decision-making, and reimagining our economy. Examples of their work include investing in local businesses and creating ethical business standards, practicing alternative economic models, supporting artists, and moving resources and decision-making power to BIPOC communities. Their investment fund is one of the first and only democratically run funds in the country. Their work is creative, innovative, and transformative. Their work is also led by an all-Black staff, as well as dozens of active volunteers and hundreds of members. What I admire about the Ujima Project is they're working against injustices by creating and building something new in their own community. They're working to create a house with different beams, to create systems of justice with justice at the foundation. UMass Action has been supporting the Ujima Project for the past year and a half. We had a few workshops last year that several of you attended to learn about the racial wealth gap and Ujima's work. Today, I invite you to contribute to this organization that's rejecting the status quo of our systems that have been built on a stolen beam and instead working towards a vision of a more just world. Thank you.
In that spirit of supporting good work out in the world, as well as here at First Parish, we will now accept an offering. The plate that is passed before you and any text to give that you give or any checks in which you mark your donation towards the offering is a 50-50 share the plate this month with Ujima Project. Thank you for your generosity. The offering will be gratefully received. can tell by my hat that we've been here a while. It's cooling off and we are coming to the end of our service. You can also tell because I'm about to invite you to all of the things happening today. I invite you to check FP Weekly, and I realized that I forgot to, so there may actually be some things happening today that I'm not going to invite you to. It's a good reason to check it yourself. If you don't receive FP Weekly, which is our weekly calendar with little blurbs about everything going on so that you can stay up to speed here at First Parish, you can sign up on our website, firstparish.org. Today, right after service, I do think I know what's going on. First, we have our worship sharing circle, which Dana is leading today. That's a chance if you would like a small group of company to reflect on today's theme together. That's the spot to go to. You can go in person by going through the doors, up all to the top floor, back to the Ripley room, or you can come online. The link is in FP Weekly, and it will hopefully be in the Zoom chat. Coffee hour, as usual, is outside. Tali is here to share more if you have questions about Boston Ujima project. You can also help out by talking with her, but also by writing cards to your fellow parishioners if you would like to do so.
We've already heard these words of Rebecca Parker. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. This meditation was shared with me many years ago and became, not surprisingly, a musical meditation, which we will sing together today. We'll sing in unison first, both the me and the us, and then we'll sing it in a round led by the choir and by Doug and Loren and Rick. So I enjoy you to rise with me and let us sing.
There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. Rest in this love. Build a soft and sturdy home in which real things can land. Let the soft animal of your body love what it loves, and find your place in the family of things. Let us join together in our benediction. Go out into the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings. Let's have coffee hour.